Hi everyone, welcome my dear students to Phonetics and Phonology course, third year. You see in this lecture or this presentation, we are going to talk about introductory data about or introduction about phonetics and phonology, third year. First, you have studied phonetics in the first year and second year. Phonetics is a science of speech sounds. It has two major branches, acoustic phonetics, which is concerned with physics of the sound signals used in speech, and articulatory phonetics. This is what we are studying. Articulatory phonetics, how to articulate, which is concerned with the physiological mechanism involved in the production of speech sounds. There is a third branch, linguistics and phonetics, often referred to as auditory phonetics. It concerns itself with the perception of speech sounds. It is of limited relevance and application to the study of language and linguistics. No, we are going to focus on articulatory phonetics. Here, we will mainly look at articulatory phonetics, as I told you. Okay, in articulatory phonetics, we study how speech sounds are articulated or produced. Remember, we are going to build on what you have studied in the first year and second year, and we are going to discuss what is missing. Okay, and we are going to communicate, and I will listen to your comments. And how these sounds can be described and classified on the basis of the manner in which they are produced. This branch of phonetics examines the physiological basis of speech. Phonetics developed as a science to reform scripts which did not or could not represent the actual utterance accurately. Delete this one. As a tool for teaching correct pronunciation in language, and to provide a device for transcribing the unknown languages. A search for a better device for an accurate representation of sounds led to an in-depth, this is hyphen here, in-depth study of compositions of the various sounds. Phonetics concentrated on the two physical articulatory spoken, acoustic, and heard aspects of sounds as its area of study. In other words, phonetics is a science. This is a definition. A science that studies and analyzes sounds in respect to their articulation, transmission, and the perception with reference to any particular language or to their function therein. This is by Robert. Definition of phonetics. Science that studies and analyzes sounds in respect to their articulation, transmission, and perception. Okay? This is according to Robbins, 1967. It focuses on the physical properties. You have to understand this theoretical part of the sounds, classifying them on the basis of their place and manner of articulation. You have to understand place and manner of articulation. مكان النطق طريقة place and manner of articulation, and providing a technique, international phonetic alphabet, IBA symbols for describing them as accurately as possible. Its treatment of sounds is labeled neutral. This is by LAS and more general in scope. Let's see phonology. What is phonology and what is the difference between phonetics and phonology? Phonology is the study of functional aspects of sounds, bifurcated as a science when scholars realized that sounds had different organizational and behavioral patterns in different languages. Therefore, the focus in phonology is on sounds as functional unit. In phonology, we focus on sounds as functional units, not the articulatory way within a linguistic system. So this is phonology. We can translate علم الصوتيات أنظمة صوتية, but phonetics الصوتيات, it always has in view a language as a communication system in its theory and procedures of analysis. It studies sounds as linguistic units and how they are organized within the linguistic system, and this is important, and how they behave in various contexts in general. So this is important to understand the difference between phonetics and phonology. Phonology, again, it studies sounds as linguistic units and how they are organized within a linguistic system and how they behave in various contexts in general. Phonology regards sounds as units. Sounds are units relevant for the purpose of communication. Therefore, the finer physical variations in the articulation and perception of sounds, which are important in phonetics, cease to be that relevant in many phonological contexts. Traditionally, phonetics was a general study of sounds outside any language boundary, and phonology was specific to languages. This is important in the differences or in the difference between phonetics and phonology. In phonetics, we say general study. We have general study, but phonology we have specific, particular language, specific language. However, with the development of modern theories in linguistics, the approach to demarcate the two areas of study in terms of language general phonetics and language-specific phonology has also changed considerably. Phonology no more is a study of, now there is a change, no more is a study of sounds within a single language context. The broad objectives of studying sounds as linguistics units in terms of their function, behavior, organization within a single system are still there, but the concept of universal grammar has extended to the scope of phonology. Now, this is a broad view of phonology, okay? And linguistic units in terms of function, behavior, organization, and this is part of universal grammar. Uh, but the concept of universal grammar has extended the scope to phonology from a single language to universal language. So read it again. Universal grammar has extended the scope of phonology from a single language to the universal language in order to identify the differences between phonetics and phonology. It is therefore no more as specific as it was considered to be. If phonetics is the form and phonology is the substance, then both of them are seen within the same language. Phonetics in the study of actual oral realizations of what we want to communicate. Both phonetics and phonology are highly developed sciences having their respective terminologies. Phonetics incorporates parts of physiology, physics in its analysis, and phonology relies on psychology for some of its abstractions and interpretations. In short, in brief, both phonetics and phonology are sciences that deal with the centrally important subject matter of language, speech sounds. The former, which is the first one, the phonetics, with its articulatory and acoustic properties, the latter, I mean phonology, with its functional aspects. So I mean here, phonetics focuses on the articulatory and acoustic properties. Phonology focuses on functional aspects. Well, okay. Well, what, sorry, when two subfields of study within a single discipline concern themselves with the same matter, it becomes rather difficult to demarcate them in clear cut areas having sharp divisions or dividing lines and totally independent of each other. Phonetics and phonology are two different areas of study that are independent or interdependent, where one is more basic phonetics than the other phonology. Okay? In fact, as pointed out by Lass, phonology is about things that are basically phonetic. It requires the concepts, terminology, and notations of phonetics, in addition to erecting on top of this a whole new set of its own. This is a quotation by Lass. You can here go move on to the difference between phone and phoneme. You know this word sound, phone, phoneme. What is the difference? Phone is a generic term for speech sound. This is generic term. An orally transmitted message is encoded into phones. It is the minimal sound phonic unit. The classification, analysis, and description of phones in terms of their physical properties is a subject matter of phonetics, and the study of these phones in terms of their functional organization in various languages is what phonology is all about. Within the functional context, phones are further classified as phonemes and allophones. This we are going to learn the difference between these two terms. The next two sections of this unit will deal with the latter two notions crucial for any phonological study. The concept of phoneme, a phonic unit used for phonological analysis and description, was first introduced by Henry Sweet, okay, an American Englishman who was one of the forerunners of in the study of phonetics. Though Sweet didn't exactly use the term phoneme, he did introduce the concept in his hand, handbook of phonetics. Sweet came upon the scene towards the end of an era in Europe. Okay, let's move on to the definition of phoneme. This is historical. Sweet here, we can start here. Sweet was also very much concerned about finding better way to make the English script closer to English sounds. During the process of finding precise transcriptive devices, Sweet discovered that there was a difference between sounds which may by themselves establish two words. This is important. Distinction distinction between sounds, okay, which may by themselves establish two words as two separate lexical items, and sounds whose differences depended on their phonetic environment. It is evident from Sweet's work that even though he did not give it any terminological identity, the concept of functionality, distinct sound unit was very much there in his mind. It was Badwin de Courtenay, a Polish scholar teaching in Russia, who drew the terminological difference between or distinction between phone and phoneme. It was still in terms of transcribing language, and his article on the theory of phoneme uh, on the theory of phoneme published in 1893, he drew the term phoneme from the Russian from phonema, Russian word phonema. Both Sweet and de Courtenay major concern was to find the transcriptive device that could precisely represent the sound of a language. Their discovery of functional sound unit led to two methods of transcription, narrow and broad. We can learn from this that phoneme is distinctive minimal unit in the sound system. Okay, we are going to explain this in details later. And you can remember these are the phonetic symbols we are going to use in our course. You remember vowels, pure vowels, you have studied in year 1 and year 2. Pure vowels and diphthong, and we have consonants. Okay, these are the symbols we are going to use in our course. Okay, so this is just an introduction about the course and what the difference between phonetics and phonology, and we are going to explain and talk and discuss in details, and we are going to communicate via the platform or via chat room to discuss and answer your questions and see your comments. Okay, thank you for your listening, and you are welcome, and I will be waiting for your comments. Thank you.